Hello everyone, welcome back. Turns out oxygen is still not included. You are not in Fox's ghetto prison. I'm going to show you some ideas I'm working on. This is actually really paying off, having this kind of two save file system where I've got my hyperbolic asteroid over here and then my ghetto prison over there. It's actually, there's this huge project I took on and it wound up not working, and it took like 100 cycles for me to execute it incorrectly, and now I know that it's going to save so much time knowing that it doesn't work. So over here, we're attempting to learn how to do hatches, or not hatches, puffs. Over here I got the puffed and the puffed prints. Puffs are a little different than others. This is their different variations: regular puffed, puff prints, dense puff, and squeaky puffs. So right now we've got a 46% chance to lay a dense or a squeaky puffed egg. So most of the time we're going to get one of these two, which is I want these other variations. And you need to have one of these really snobby looking puff princes nearby. The puffed princes are what allow these guys to lay different egg variations. So the way this works is this puff needs polluted oxygen, and they are just like slicksters in that the slicksters are always dying from starvation because there's just never enough carbon dioxide. I have the same problem with puffs, so we're just starting with two. They're still wild. You see, right here, they're wild, so their metabolism is not as high as it could be. Metabolism is plus 25, not as crazy as when they're tame. Metabolism goes way up, so they eat more. So I'm just trying with two. So we need polluted oxygen. The question is, how do you generate it? And what I'm doing is I got this layer of polluted water down here, and you'll see these little bubbles pop up every now and then. Not sure if we'll actually be able to see one, but a bubble will pop up, and the bubble is full of polluted oxygen, about 100 grams. 100 grams is not enough, so you need like a coating of water. Another thing we've got here is this oxalate. So there he is. Oh, so there was a bubble right there. That was an extra 100 polluted. There's another 100 polluted oxygen right there. That's not going to be enough to get it in the beginning, though. See, this puffed is already eating all of it very quickly. So the way it works is this is completely sealed off. It's airtight. We got a water lock here. Over here, this is the piping system to our air, our oxygen, so that our oxygen is included. And I let one little branch off with a valve so I could shut it off. And the reason for that is because we need to control the pressure of the atmosphere. We need to make sure that these tiles, you can see right here, we've got 1,700 grams. Look, he's already going to eat it. He's trying to eat it basically as quickly as possible. We need to make sure that the pressure is under 1,800. That's actually quite important, because if the pressure is too high, then we don't get these bubbles. We don't get these little bubbles of, what is this? What is this like? It looks like oxalate right there. That looks a lot like oxalate, but I can't click it. So we have this thing automated to turn on if the pressure is above 1,700, but I don't want to send the polluted oxygen out. So this thing starts pumping if the automation detects it's over 1,700 grams per tile, and it pumps it out here, where it's then detected by a gas element sensor, and the gas element sensor is looking for polluted oxygen. If it's not polluted oxygen, it's just regular oxygen, it pumps it out here through this high pressure vent. High pressure because it can get a bit dense in here, and it won't let the oxygen out if there's 2 grams of gas it's surrounded by. So a high pressure vent allows us to bypass it. If it is polluted oxygen, it's going to go through the system, through this shutoff that is being told to shut off by the little sensor, the element sensor, and it's going to spit it back out right here. That could be a problem. I might need to spit it out over here because it's just going to add more gas pressure, and it might cause it to kind of recycle itself, so we can always change that. If we lose too much pressure, I can then just do this and reactivate this to 1,000 grams or slower. If I want to let the gas in slower, that's why the valve there is there. It lets me control how much of these. That's good. He's doing that. Now, what I'm waiting for is for him to eat up enough so that he'll poop out some slime. Because here's the thing. The slime will also release gas. So I'm hoping that if the slime lands in this water, the water does not prevent it from off-gassing. If it does prevent it from off-gassing, what we're going to do is grab these mesh tiles, these water mesh tiles, and I'm going to put a layer of tiles down here, which will not interfere with the water, but it'll basically add a solid platform for the slime poo to land on and start off-gassing, so that basically we're not removing polluted oxygen from the system. Because these guys, they poop out the slime at a 95% efficiency, meaning they only remove 5% of the polluted mass, which is good, because eventually this should eventually pollute the entire oxygen area. Another thing we're counting on is there is a small chance that polluted water will infect clean oxygen if it's in the adjacent tile. So let's go to the gas overlay. So you see this is the water tile. If there is clean oxygen next to polluted water, there is a low chance, I think it's like a 1% every, I don't know how often it checks, there's a 1% chance that it will just grab the entire tile and flip the tile, like basically 1 kilogram of it will turn into polluted oxygen, but it's not very common. So we are getting more gas coming out, not a ton. That's, once again, why we only have 2, but that's what we're gonna do. I might also take some of the slime. Looks like we're out of slime. Yeah, we're out of slime. No slime. Probably because these things are going through it. Let's shut these off. We also have him. He's just kind of in here. There's a lot of these critters that I'm just kind of leaving around just because I've been trying to experiment. Anyways, if we can get a squeaky pufflet egg, that's going to go in here because the squeaky puff breathes chlorine and poops out bleach stones. If we can get the densed pufflet from over here, well, he's gonna go all the way up here, which is where our oxalite refiner is. So here's the next thing I'll show you, is we have a double rocket system going on. It looks like we've got a lot of regolith. We're in kind of like stage 3 of my space plan on, like, this is, like I said, this is my training asteroid where I'm figuring things out. Let's have them start digging all that crap out. So, what we have here is, this is a cargo rocket. This is actually going to get removed, so it's going to come down 1. And this is a research rocket. This rocket is designed just to go out and basically do recon on the planets, as well as farm research databanks for us. And this one, on the other hand, has this cargo bay here, and it just flies out to get cargo and bring exotic cargo back, because the exotic cargo is going to go into this thing right here. This is the molecular forge. It's gonna let us make things like supercoolant, which we need a lot of supercoolant for, what do you call it? When we need to turn things into liquid, like that need to be extremely cold. Like hydrogen turns into liquid at like negative 450 degrees. Supercoolant is what's going to let us do that. We have insulation, like if you hate heat transfer, like if you never want heat to ever transfer again, insulation is a perfect insulator. But this right here, isosaurus and isoresin. Isoresin is not available on your asteroid, only available on other planets. Same here. Fullerene, not available on your asteroid. You have to find it in space. Viscogel. Viscogel allows you to make... Viscogel is a liquid that goes up and down instead of left and right. It's very thick, so you can make like walls out of it, so you can make the water locks easier. Needs isoresin. No isoresin, no viscogel. Isoresin not available on there. And then thermium. Thermium is like super steel. So we have steel here. Steel overheats at like... It'll break down if it gets over 527 degrees. This stuff doesn't even give a crap about that. This stuff, like, let's look at steel. Let's build something. So if we build something with steel, steel is going to make it so that it overheats. It gets overheat damage at 360 degrees higher than normal. So you take this as the base overheat, it'll take damage if it gets hotter than 167 degrees. We'll add 360 with steel. That's what makes it so good. Now you've got niobium here. Niobium, this is also from space. This adds 900, so it's pretty insane. That's already just really good, niobium. But if that's not good enough for you, you've got thermium. Thermium adds 1,620 degrees on top of it. So it overheat at like basically 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit with thermium. So it's like the super heat-resistant metal. So once again, seeing we've got the entire system here that's blocking off the asteroids. Here is the full solar farm. There's a one missing here just because there's a ladder here. One would fit right in there, but I do need somewhere to climb around, and that's why I decided to put this here. And then I've got this area here. I could probably go a little bit closer, like maybe one, maybe two closer. I don't want to get too close to the rocket there. Remember that it exhausts the superheated fuel, and the heated fuel might damage it, which is why, you know, yeah, we're pretty close on this side. We could probably get a little closer, but as you can see, it's nearly done. All of these are farming a ton of electricity going into our going over to our wires. Here are the new heavy watt conductive wires. They're actually made out of the refined metals instead of the raw. Oh, this. Just noticed that wasn't there, so this one isn't feeding. Oh, what's this? Well, that's a problem. So these are unreachable build. Let me cancel all of these real quick. Okay, let's redo that. So the heavy watt wire, yeah, okay, this should be fine. Oh wait, no, they're fine. Okay, let me go into this. Let's make sure wait, let's pause. I might have got psyched out. Okay, I got psyched out. I mean, like, it's not my fault. The game tricked me. Make this a 9. There. Anyways, so these heavy watt wires, conductive wires, they're basically just like how you got these wires here, the super versions of the regular wires. Here's the standard one. We're basically upgrading, and the reason for that is because we're getting tons of refined metals. A lot of it's just raining down here, and we're just making upgrades over time. We're switching to the better wires. We don't have enough to replace the entire system, but eventually, these are the heavy-duty transformers. Eventually, all of the regular transformers, like these ones here with the standard wires, eventually they're all going to get replaced with the conductive wires that they can transfer way more electricity before overloading. You can already see I'm already beginning that process down here. Like this one here I replaced. This one's going to be next. And we're just going to kind of go up. This one ate up a ton of resources doing this wire all the way down here. But because we're on the surface, like I'm trying to talk about, like basically what's the advantage of being on the surface is it's raining down metals, and over time, yeah, you could just start making these really awesome upgrades. Not only do these carry more electricity, let's see how much electricity. So this one can carry 20 kilowatts, that's a crazy amount of electricity. But these heavy watt conductive wires, they could transfer 50 kilowatts, which is probably overkill. But on top of that, remember how these are really ugly looking? Now these are still ugly, but they're not quite as bad. They're still bad, don't get me wrong. These are minus 20 decor instead of minus 25. I mean, it helps. I mean, it's minus 25 per every single one of these. So, whereas, let me see these regular wires. These wires, they have a minus 5 decor penalty, while these standard conductive wires have no decor penalty. I mean, like, look at them. They do look pretty cool. They've got this nice, like, Kevlar jacket appearance to them, while these standard wires, a standard wire at Well, you know, you can see these standard wires are really like spaghetti looking. Like they're not sexy enough. They make people sad. But that's what's going on here. Like I said, doing this ahead of time to make mistakes here instead of making mistakes on the main file. And the mistake I made was I didn't realize how heavy the cargo bay is. Your rocket can basically use one cargo bay. I tried putting 5 cargo bays on. Nah, it doesn't work that way. That rocket gets super, super heavy, and you just cannot get enough thrust. Like, you could probably do multiple maybe you could, I don't know if you could do multiple cargo bays, but in my test, it didn't work, so yeah. When we go to the real save file, we're not going to be doing double cargo bays. We're going to be doing one petroleum rocket that's a research rocket and one that's a cargo rocket to bring our stuff back. Anyways, enough of the update. Let's get over to the primary save file. Back to prison. Okay, so I am waking the game up. Looks like we've got an issue of dirt everywhere. Let's get rid of that stuff. So over here, there is enough room for another rocket, probably about right here-ish. Too bad it's right next to the ice biome, because it's the rocket exhaust will probably heat up the biome. We could scoot this rocket over a little bit. We could scoot it over to, like, right here, which doesn't seem like a terrible idea, especially because I haven't fueled it up or anything. Let's go ahead and drop that one. Just to give us as much room as we can get. So, this is going to be our oxalite room. And we don't have any wart seeds. Let me see. Where can we get some more wart seeds? Because I don't want to... I will pull some of our existing wart seeds down if necessary, but... I would prefer to find some extra wart seeds. I see we've got a ton of algae in here. Oh, here's one. Let's get this one. Probably can't reach that one, so let's just put 2 of those there. Make this a 9. Oh, we've got a ton of them down here. Oh, wow. Here they all are. I guess we'll just make this a 7. Just like that. Dig order on a 9 to grab these guys. Oh, another anti-entropy thermonullifier there. Pretty good. So you can see over here we're off-gassing polluted oxygen. So let's clean this up on a 6 so that they do get to it, but they're not, like, rushing towards it. So you might think this is oil, but this is actually liquid carbon dioxide. Because it's, like... unbelievably cold in here. It's minus 70 degrees in here. It's probably cold enough. We probably don't need it to be any colder in there. It's so cold that the wheezeworts are getting too cold. Let's check the overall temperature in this area. It's gonna take a while for our wheezeworts to actually... What I might do is poke a hole in this and let out this carbon, which is immediately going to heat up, but when it does, it's going to become extremely cold. How's the base looking in terms of heat? This area is a bit hot because of... Probably going to need a second one over here just because of how hot the water is. How are we doing on reed fiber, actually? Okay, I think we have enough, to be completely honest. Which means I should probably start... I should probably shut this off. And what we'll do is, once the existing amount of water has been drank up by this, we will go ahead and dig those up. Because we've got a good enough. If we need more reed fiber, we can just plant them, replant them again. So I've got... I don't need 2 of these here. That's one thing I don't need. Get rid of this on a 6. This is this allows us to add gas in the manual way. which allows me to kind of control how much gas I'm adding into the area, because the hydrogen's getting too thin. It's still working, but it could be better. Colony achievement earned. What did we do? Pulling back the veil. Ah, we explored the majority of the asteroid. Revealed it. Well, one thing we need to keep doing is we need to keep building this way. Oh man, I can feel that in-between cycle lag. Let's build the, yeah, build it on a 7, that's fine. And let's keep doing that. Now, they're not going to be able to build this very efficiently. Only 1 or 2 guys are going to be able to build at a time. Maybe 1 guy building the ladder, 1 guy building the bunker doors, so... There's just not a lot we can do about that. So over here, this is where we need our Weezeworts. So let's plant this at a 9. Like, these need to always be supplied with fuel. We're going to add our conductive wire now. Or are we? Let's check our power load. Load is pretty high over there. How much? Okay, yeah, that's right. That's going to be too much for this system. This system is going to go. In fact, I also just don't like how compact this area is. So what we're going to do is we're going to dig on priority 7. Let's try to make it nice and neat, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go up and measure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 4, 5. I'm just going to put these here as just to measure where the floors would be. 5. Wait. Good. 5. 5. 5. Let's go back and see what our new printable is. I don't want any of these guys. I need builders and stuff like that. That's what I need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it all gets messed up right here. But this tells me that it should probably be about this height. So what we're going to do is cut in there on a priority 7. Let's start going down about right here. Right there. We want to cut the smallest path through here just to maintain the largest quantity of insulation. And I'm even going to add some insulation. And I'm going to add a... probably a door right here. The reason I'm going to add a door here is just to keep the hot gases from getting in. Like, even though the gas here isn't as hot, we just want to keep things cold. We just want to keep things cool wherever possible. And this will... it's not going to prevent the gas. Every time the thing opens, it will allow the gas in, but that's fine. We're just preventing the gas from intermingling most of the time, and that will help to preserve the temperature in this area. I'll put one here as well. Ugh! I can feel that. Okay, so let's... right about here. So this is where we're going to want our power transformer. So let's do the large transformer. Flip its direction around. Oh, we're going to have to dig up the sleet wheat. Some insulative tile here. Probably destroy that. Just to make it look a little nicer. Okay, now it's gone. Let's get the the large power transformer out. We'll use iron, just because it's cold in here. It's not going to be a problem. I'm just lining it up. You don't need to line it up, but I'm doing it just because. Now what we could do is get our line in here. Get our heavy watt wire. I guess we got some iron available. How do we want to get it? How do we want to thread it through? Remember that heavy watt wire cannot go through walls. So I guess what we'll do is... Wait. Let's just go... Basically, how am I going to get it through the door is the question. Do I want to go above or below? It doesn't really matter. I'm being kind of picky, right? I'm just being kind of picky about it. I think it makes more sense to go above. So we'll do it right here. Heavy watt wire. Heavy watt wire. Like so. Another joint plate. That will help. We're gonna put... The reason why we're not just gonna... Once again, we're still trying to insulate the area where possible. So we'll add this here. We'll add a little extra just to try to be a little more generous with it. But basically, this is going to block the gas. That's why we're going to add it there. So that it becomes part of the wall, even if it's not as insulative as it could be. Where is... Nope, that's heavy watt conductive wire. Here we go. Just like that. And then we'll probably do this in the event we need to get in there. Because we will need to get in there. Not in the event we get in there. We will need to get in there. So now what we're going to do is conductive wire. Got a lot of iron, a lot of lead as well, but lead will take forever to transport upwards. So let's just continue using the iron like this. What we're going to do is put a insulated tile over here, probably out of mafic rock. And conductive wire like this, up into there. How do I want to feed this? It doesn't really, I'm being picky again, it doesn't really matter how we feed it. But once again, the reason we have to do this is because this machine is very power hungry. It just absolutely feasts upon electricity. We're talking about 1200 watts here. So it is necessary to use this. Okay, so now we're going to use this because that's the only way we'll be able to reach up to the top. Oh yeah, that's right. I was wondering, where the heck did the rocket go? I'm going to move the booster over just to see how it's going to look. Actually, quickly destroy these real quick, because I just want to see what the booster is going to look like. Okay. The engine. Where does the... We can't go through neutronium, so we need to make sure that... It's going to be right here. Oh, that's still in the way. Terminate these components. Which looks like it might not be possible. Because they can't get through it. Build. So one of the annoying things about rockets is it can be kind of hard to get across it without a gantry. It's on a 9. And remove these on a 9. Scooting it over a little bit, then we'll be able to put the 2 rockets in. I mean, the 2 rockets can be side by side. They're very resistant to heat. Like, the heat won't bother them. There you go. Build it, Hassan. Oh, you just look like Hassan. You're Joseph Bailey. I'm used to my guys on the other side. Okay. Good, good, good. And that's directly below the neutronium, so let's go ahead and build our petroleum engine right here. Yeah, look at that. We're scooting it over quite a few blocks. That's perfectly fine. So we're going to build that here, and that confirms it. We're going to demolish all of these. It's going to be priority 9. And then we're going to move this ladder over. As you can see, reconstructions, they're a pain, but they're also necessary. Well, they're not, I don't know about necessary, might be too strong of a word. But basically, we just need to rip the Band-Aid off really fast. And here's all of our petroleum, which fortunately is placed in a nice little tankard. Unfortunately, it's kind of useless over there. They'll have to dump it out. But at least we didn't use it. At least we didn't lose it. That's the important part. Another thing we're gonna have to do is we have to remove this ladder somehow. Like, this entire ladder system is in the way. Wow, what a pain. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm gonna jump cut to when I've deconstructed this entire stupid thing. Okay, I am back. We have made pretty good progress. As you can see, we have the first rocket fully built. Second rocket, this one's gonna take a moment. It's not going to be ready to do much of anything, because we don't have the remaining components necessary to even build it in the first place. Because we don't have the research done. There we go. So, we need 2 gantries here, and the reason for that is simply because the oxalate that's going to be used to burn the petroleum in the vacuum of space has to be delivered by hand. There's no way around it. Oh, this is entombed. Another thing we did was I built some containers here, and I swept up all of the really hot debris. It looks like there's a little more hot debris in there still. Let me go ahead and rebuild it. I guess I'll leave one here, just... So, basically, what I'm talking about is none of these are going to go on top of it. We need a cargo majiggy thing, and then this would go on top of that, but we can't build it out of order. We could deconstruct it out of order, but we can't build it out of order. Just the way it works. So this guy's super productive. This is part of the new patch they added. So what does super productive do, you might ask? Every time he does a task, he has a 10% chance to instantly complete it, regardless of the length of time that it takes to normally complete it. I don't want them fueling this at the moment, so let's just leave it at that. We're also going to need some electricity. And these are probably going to need their own power transformer down here, which is kind of annoying, but at the same time, this thing isn't even close to ready to launch. We also have this. This is going to be the fueling station, which we can go ahead and begin. What we're going to do is set this to 0 kilograms so that it doesn't take any fuel. And what we're going to do is go ahead and bring this line out like this, and just go right through them both. And because this one is set to 0 kilograms, it'll just bypass it and just go straight into fueling that one. Over here, this is already beginning. Okay. Turn this on. The gas is already starting to fill up in here. Actually, we need to turn this off. Above, I forgot we haven't completed our liquid lock yet. So we're going to do this. We're going to do the liquid lock with with crude oil. 9 auto bottle. Add over here. Because that'll prevent the... And I think we're out of crude oil, so we're going to have to start pumping crude oil again. Let me see, where's our crude oil at? Yes, we are currently out of crude oil. So we're going to have to start pumping again. And that means we're going to need to build this system up over here, so let's get that going. build it out of gold is fine down here. It's not hot enough to overheat a pump. So liquid pump out of gold. Somewhere deep where the oil's naturally going to fall. Go like this. Like so. Let's go ahead and... Where's our wire at? Here's our wire right here. It looks like it isn't overloaded, so no harm in using it. Let's go ahead and continue using gold amalgam. Like so. Let's add our automation system in. We can unpause. It doesn't have to. Just like that. Although our automation system might overheat, come to think of it. So let's... Thermosensor cancel. Let's build the thermosensor out of gold. Thermosensor gold. Automation wires out of gold. Good. Okay, that should be fine. So the next thing we need to do is we need a better filter. We just need a better liquid filter. One that's gonna make sure that we get rid of all this polluted crap out of here. All of these contaminants, basically. Where are we gonna put the water? Down here, maybe? Well, we need a place to put the water. I think this place volunteers to be our water reserve. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is insulated pipe like this, and then we're gonna add in a liquid element sensor like so. Add a liquid shutoff right above it. Connect the sensor with an automation wire. Connect the sensor with electricity. Then what we could do is connect it with a pipe. Connect this back in. Deconstruct this on a priority 7. Back to our pipes. And then create a bypass over here. And dump it out over here. Ah, yes, our eco-friendly way. This poke shell over here, probably not going to be too happy about it, but screw the poke shell. He almost killed NASA W. I'm going to make this detect crude oil. There we go. So what this will do is it'll start pumping the oil in. Probably could poke some holes in this as well, just to let the crude oil flow down a little easier. And we can dig this out on a 7 just to add a little more flow. A little bit of petroleum here, it's kind of a shame to lose. Do I want to do a double filtration system to filter out the petroleum? I could do that. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do a double filtration system. Okay, so there's no reason to just allow more of this crappy stuff to go through. Okay, so we're gonna need another sensor. Gonna need another shutoff. While they're deconstructing that, I can go ahead and build that, copy this over, give it electricity, give it an automation, deconstruct that at a 9. This back in. This goes into the bypass. So the first one will detect crude oil. So here's the way it's going to work. All kinds of liquid will go through. If it's crude oil, it goes through unhindered. Everything else goes through here. The second one will detect petroleum. And if it's petroleum, it will be re-added back into the system over here. Yeah, that's how it's going to work. And if it's not, so if it's not crude oil, it gets put out through the bypass. If it's petroleum, it gets re-added to the line. If it's not crude oil, if it's not petroleum, it continues along the bypass. That's how it's going to work. Why is this an unreachable build? Oh, I see why. They can't get over. Which means this has to go. Cancel the sweep order. Don't know why we have a sweep over there. Drill this at a 9. What is... No filter selected. Petroleum. P. Why is petroleum not in alphabetical order? Why is it down here? That's kind of stupid. Okay, now they can get across. Very nice. How are you doing down here? Disabled, okay. Now, before I kind of wanted to just turn it on, but before we do that, let's make sure we've got everything connected correctly. Okay, we got this is set to crude oil, very good. Goes into here. Crude oil comes out there. The next filter, petroleum, very good. If it's not petroleum, goes out here. If it is petroleum, goes here. Follows the line upwards, past that, over here, into here. What's happening over here? This is looking for crude oil, so what we're going to do is reuse this bypass. We're going to trim these off, like so. We're going to deconstruct this. Going to double-click that to deconstruct all of it. Let's turn these to a 7. Because we will use this line still. This line is fine. It's detecting crude oil, correct? Yes, so on the off chance that this finds the... on the periodic chance that it finds the petroleum, what we're going to do is send the little bits of petroleum that we find are going to go over here. Whoa, 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 whoa. The little bits of petroleum that we find will go right over here. Make these, that's fine. Okay. That's one thing you should always do. Like, if you haven't used the system in a while, you probably forget, like, what the system was used for, like I did, and I'll just double check it just to be safe. Speaking of that, okay, good. This is all working correctly. Except... right here, we could change this. Remove those. Priority, 7. Okay, let's add in a gas valve. Let's make it steel, because this area can get extremely hot. Insulated pipes. This is letting the cold air out. One, it's going to warm this area is not warming up quickly. I want to point that out. But yeah, we're going to need to activate this in order to keep the system from overheating. This will allow us to control how much hydrogen goes through. Not 50. 500, please. Make this a priority 9. How is our valves looking? Okay, I think everything is good. Let's give the system a test fire. So, to test fire the system, we'll just set this to the max. And then turn it off. And we'll watch it to see if that worked. Oh, let's also make sure that these up here are on. All of these are on, it seems. Good, good, good. This is super inefficient looking. I might need to redo that. Okay, here we go. Oil. We'll see if our first chance for failure. Oh, that's working good. Follow it as it travels up. Crude oil keeping its temperature as intended due to the insulated pipes. Not... I mean, there's a little bit of temperature leak, but we're talking like fractions of degrees. Not enough to really impact... Plus we got all these wheeze-warts that will counter any small amount of heat loss. Second place where we could run into a problem. Goes right into here as intended, so nope. That looks fine to me. Let's turn this on full time. So this will fill up with 5 tons of oil before it starts feeding into there. What is going on here? Why is this system so ugly looking? What is this doing? What kind of gases are in here? So there's nothing but carbon dioxide and natural gas in here. What is this system even doing? The system is pumping into here. It's pumping carbon out. And, okay, so I think I understand what's going on in here. Let's start just deconstructing some of this crap. Like this. Disable on a 9. This is actually, this needs to go. It's gonna break down. It's not made of a strong enough material. Okay, we do need something here. That part's true. Let's add one of these made out of steel. I want these on a 9, like, or 8, that's fine as well. Okay, so there's only 2 types of gas in here. I think before we had mixed gases, which is why that looked the way it did. Let's go to medium speed so I can not make everything go absolutely bonkers. Let's see, so... we want that to go to the slicksters. And we can simplify this by just bridging over here. Like so. Actually, I think I want... ugh, it's not gonna matter. Goes in like that. Trim all of this off. Okay, let's get a... where are my natural gas generators at? Okay, so everything's on the left side, so let's put this over here. And I think I want to do it like this. And we're going to put that in there. This goes here. This gets trimmed off. Oh, wait. This needs to be steel. Make you out of steel. Okay, you already were made out of steel. Very nice. Good. Okay. You're going to go... okay, we already have a line right there. That's going to take it into the natural gas generators. Okay, yeah. Everything's fine. Remove this. Remove that. Do it quickly, please. Over here, we're going to add in the sensors. Gas element sensor over here. Atmos sensor over here. Wait, what are these made out of? Gold? Gold, that's fine. Or is it fine? These might need to be steel as well. Because it can get quite hot in here. And it barely uses any steel anyway, so let's go ahead and make these out of steel. Well, that's the wrong one. We need an element sensor. Where is it? Gas element sensor. Steel. Bam. These, on the other end, can be gold. That's not going to kill anybody. Wait, those are fine as well. That wire can stay as it is. Ugh. Crazy day shifts. Okay, here we go. Wire this up here. Here. That's fine. Electricity is next. What's the power grid look like over here? A little overloaded on both of them. Probably need to upgrade this line completely. Although some of this machinery doesn't look like it's in use, so I'm not too worried about it. Put it in like that. Set the filter to natural gas. No! I don't know what it just pumped out, but okay, I think this thing caught it. There. Okay, full speed. Select natural gas. Okay, good. We're starting to get crude oil. Deconstruct these on a 7. I love it when the systems work, especially when they work the first time around. It's gonna be a while before they get to this petroleum. There's plenty of crude oil in here. It's been a while. You know, it's been a while since we've ran this system. Look at this. Look at that. Already getting to work. This is already adding some natural gas to the area. Excellent. Activate this. There we go. Oh, we have a leak here. What happened? Why do we have a leak here? What happened here? Okay, so it looks like the petroleum got caught in here. So, hold on a second. Why is petroleum in here? In this loop? This loop? Or is there a heat issue? No. Where did that petroleum come from? So this is set to crude oil. The crude oil is going through here. The petroleum should have gone through there. I don't know why that happened. We'll have to find some petroleum, I guess. A little bit of oil got over there, which is probably because this system is a little too... Is it an electrical issue? It could be an electrical issue. Let's see. No, our batteries are fine. Oh, I know what the problem is. I know what the problem is. The problem is that, there we go. This is the... Okay, so here's the problem. Why isn't it doing that? It's because the flow of oil isn't constant enough. Oh, I see the other problem. Let's... Okay, I'm beginning to see what's happening. Okay, so it's looping around. That's the problem. We got some silliness going on, and they can't get to that because we're supposed to add a pitcher pump here. Okay, so we got some silliness going on. This broke down because we're putting petroleum in it, which doesn't belong there. We could stop that by cutting this wire right here, which will allow us to get to that. Okay, that'll stop the silliness from happening. We're gonna cut these pipes off. We're gonna mop up this petroleum. We're going to go back down here. Where is this at? Where did we have that? Okay, here it is. So here's what we're gonna do. We still need a way to filter the oil, like... Although it's not a problem at the moment. It will become a problem, though. Let's go ahead and... this should be auto... No, that's fine. So we're gonna need to clean this. We'll need to filter this. It's not like a dire issue. It doesn't need to be filtered immediately. But yeah, we got like a small quantity of petroleum that's trapped in here. Let me think. So what do we need to do? Let's make sure before we get wrapped up on that, let's make sure our systems are working. So this is taking the crazy natural gas. Over here, the petroleum is going where it should. This is working as intended. We've got 5 tons of crude oil for our use over there. These things are deactivated because we just don't need them at the moment. This is filling up, which is fine. And then eventually we can use that to... Oh, wait. Yeah, let's do this. Because this is going to take it to our space rocket fuel, I believe. And we also have water in here. Yeah, we got some water and polluted water in here, so eventually we'll need to filtrate this. Little spill of water here. Let's sweep that up. How is the heat doing? That's one of my questions. Oh yeah, let's activate this. We should automate this so that I can... I'll put it right here. Okay, it doesn't need to be an emergency. Make this a 7. I will make this out of steel. No, not that part. I'll make this part out of steel. But this part can be gold, that's fine. Rebuild this. So what this is doing is, this is ensuring that the hydrogen is in half blocks instead of full blocks. A full block is 1 kilogram. So when it runs through this system here, it's just kind of like condensing it a bit. Turn you on. Oh, it's the automation grid, that's why it's not on. And that'll help to cool this, keep this area like it doesn't need to be ice cold in here, but it does need to be cool-ish. Okay, if it's below the bajillion degrees, it'll turn on. There we go. Let's see. Coming back to the system at probably a little over 100, about 90-ish degrees. And let's see. Gonna exit the system at probably around 60-ish degrees, I imagine. 60, 70-ish. Oh my god, wow, it's sucking a lot of heat out of it. That's gonna definitely keep this area cold. Everything is super ice cold. Eventually, these Weezeworts won't keep up with the heat. But for now, they will. Okay, so this is looking fine. So the things that we need to think about how to fix are... Eventually, we're going to start pumping the different liquids that we don't want. And that's not good. We don't want to pump liquids that we don't want. We need to make sure that the oil is flowing very consistently, though. Like, this needs that. There cannot be any stopping. If it stops, then it screws around with the automated, with the grid. So one way we could get this to work is if we just did a straight down bypass and dumped it out just directly into here. That could be kind of a brute force way of doing it. I mean, not even necessarily a brute force way of doing it, just not the most elegant way of doing it. But maybe I don't care about... Like, what I wanted to do is I wanted to... Maybe I can do it that way if I use one of these. Let's try it again. So this should basically force it to go in this direction. Or it should. Wait, that might be a terrible idea, actually. Just hit me that, I mean, basically, we'll do it anyways. We'll do it anyways. I don't care if it's a bad idea. We don't... If it's a bad idea, then we'll... I just need to confirm... I need to confirm... If this is a bad idea, I need to confirm that it's a bad idea. Because basically, there is some doubt in my mind that it's a bad idea. I'm not completely convinced that it's a bad idea. Also, this is... Okay, so, all this giant detour... Building and operating. Oh, I kind of want you, actually. Who's next on the list? It says Wes, but don't I have a Wes? Joe, Kyler, SVS, Pancakes, Reed, Foosh King, King K, Matthew. No, we don't have a Wes. Welcome aboard, Wes. Well, more like welcome to freaking prison. You know, you look like a Wes to me. You know, I'm sure you have weird noodly arms and you jump around for joy for getting put into prison. This is Wes. Why are we taking Wes? Gastrophobia? Can't cook. I mean, who cares? We already have cooks. Quick learner. Increases science, which levels up faster. So here we could see our overjoyed responses. So this is basically... If stress reaches 100, they start puking their guts out. But if they are super happy, then they will get super productive, which just makes you super good. You can see all of them there. All of these are super productive. So Wes is joining, and we're taking Wes because building and operating, I want both of those things. Whoops, not colony summary. Duplicate skills. Wes, you are probably going to be a builder first. Go into building. And what schedule are you going to be on? We need one right here. So, Wes moving to shift number 3. Very nice. Okay, so yes. Welcome to... Oh, here's your promotion. There we go. I know recruitment of duplicates is... Holy crap. I forgot all about the water over here. I think we've hit the maximum pressure just due to... Yeah, this thing's jammed. It can't fit anymore. Oh, I forgot all about that. I think that's enough water. Just saying. Okay, before we leave, we need to see if this works. And then we also need to check to make sure we aren't dumping our petroleum out into the middle of nowhere. Okay. This system is going to be really bad if we start pumping anything besides petroleum and crude oil. So this is a temporary fix. This is a temporary fix for in the event we start hitting this, but once we hit this stuff, if we hit this, it's going to stuff all of that liquid into here, which would be really annoying. So this is a temporary fix. I need to make sure I don't forget. I'm going to write on a sticky note. Where's it? Let me get a sticky note. I'm just going to write a note for the I'm just going to write petrol filter. And I'm going to write that sticky note, and I'm going to put the sticky note on my computer so that I don't forget Because that's an easy detail for me to just... for it to completely slip my mind. Anyways, let's follow the petroleum line up here. Ah, here it is. Already working. So, you may wonder why it is built in this manner. It is built in this manner for the following reason. Pause. So it'll fill these two up, and if I were to just leave this on and forget about it, it'll fill this up, and when it's full, it'll fill this up, and then it will hit this, which is supposed to be at 0. And what it'll do is eventually it'll hit this, it'll be at 0, it won't be able to make it through, so it'll back up the line. The line will get completely backed up all the way back to here. When this backs up, this will start to fill. When this fills up, it will start to put all of the extra runoff into our reserve. And that means that I can forget about it. It doesn't matter if I'm, like, extremely negligent. It's completely fine. Because we have this thing dumping it out into there. Then when I remember, what I could do is just, bam, hit this, shut this off, which I don't want to do. I don't want to shut it off, but I can shut this off to prevent it from letting anything out. But then we'll have all this petroleum that's still in the petroleum line. And then I could just go all the way over here. And then... bam, set this to the maximum with Shazam like that, which we don't want it at the maximum right now. And then it'll basically release all of the petroleum in the line into these right here. That cleans up the line. Same right here. The reason for that is because we could send the fuel into the rockets, etc. Looks like we need probably need a gantry to build that temporarily, which we need a gantry anyways. And that means that we can then shut this off, and then we can clean the line out. So that's the purpose of doing it that way. Looks like we got a problem with this. Dig these away. Let's see how far our dupes have gotten on this. Oh, look at that. Excellent work on this. So let's continue building that. Continue building this. Out of steel, it appears. What is holding us back? Probably refined carbon, if I were to take a wager. Refined carbon. Let's queue up some refined carbon, which is going to make this super hot in here, but we have our... This is not the most efficient. The most efficient would be fully filled up 1 kilogram of hydrogen, but whatever. You know, it's some cooling. But yeah, that's going to be that. We got a decent bit done. I know you guys want to see this rocket go off. Oh man, I forgot about this too. We're filling this up. So this is going to seal the air in. I got to write this down as well. Write down the oil air lock. Got to write that down so I don't forget about that as well. Put that on the computer. Sticky note engaged. So we're using the oil for the airlocks here. The reason we're doing that is because it can get really hot on accident. This is a fail-safe mechanism. Crude oil evaporates, turns into gas at 771 degrees, in other words, very, very hot. So we don't have to worry about it. If by accident things get super hot in here, this is not going to evaporate into gas. And if it doesn't, that means it's going to stay here. And if it stays here, that means that the oxygen that we produce will also stay in here, which is good. That's the way we want it. So I believe oil forms its water lock a lot earlier, so probably going to shut this one off. And keep building it over here. We also build a ladder access. Eventually we'll just remove this and I'll cap these off. That'll be the end of that. But yes, I know you guys want to see this petroleum rocket go off, but it just takes effort. We got to fuel it up. We haven't even put in the oxalite. Got to start making the oxalite, put the oxalite in, and then bam, we can put this off. Also, we got to build a power generator or a power transformer to power these up. We need a gantry here and... cargo thing here. How are we doing on research? Still got a ways to go. Got to explore more planets. This one takes... Okay, here's the thing. Once this gets set up, it's going to be fine. It's just the issue that it's going to take a little while to set up. At any rate, that's going to be the end of this episode. Like this video if it was entertaining. Subscribe for future Oxygen Not Included content. Of course, remember that you don't have to be good to get good.